You're listening to The Outcue, a 21 News journalist perspective on a top news story.
Hello and welcome to The Outcue. I'm Sheila Miller, the news director at 21 News. For this edition of The Outcue, it comes at a perfect time in the year. We are going to talk about a beloved campaign here at WFMJ, and it's one you've probably heard of, Feed Our Valley. Feed Our Valley kicks off in a few days. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to focus on the campaign, how it got started, all that goes into it, all the dedicated people that are a part of it, and then also obviously pivot to why this year is so important, just because of all that's going on in the country right now. So let me introduce my guests. I have Mona Marie Alexander. She is the former news director, beloved here at 21 News. And then we also have Mike Iberis, the executive director at Second Harvest Food Bank. I thank you guys both so much for coming in.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So before we get into it, what I wanted to do is Second Harvest provided us with the figures from all of the 18 years. What we are going to start at the beginning of November is the 19th year of the Feed Our Valley campaign. So over the 18 years, these are the totals. And I just want to take time to read those off to you. Everybody absorb them because they're unbelievable. So in the 18 years, the Feed Our Valley campaign, which you, the viewer, are a part of because we just give the information to you and you all respond. You have raised $2 million. It's $2,098,864. The amount of food in pounds that you have donated is over $1 million. And you can see those numbers on your screen right now. So when you take all of that money and you take all of that food, it equals 11.4 million meals. So over 18 years,
It's amazing.
all of you, the viewers, we doing the campaign here with the help of Second Harvest, giving everybody the food, we have been able to feed people with 11.4 million meals. Okay, so with that being said, I need to start off. I want to talk a little bit about the campaign and how it came about. And the campaign came about because one day Mona Marie came across something, had an idea, I don't know, but she's going to tell us what triggered all of this. What was the catalyst that brought this all about?
I remember this really clearly, Sheila. It was one of our reporters was given a story to check out. And we had heard that kids were reporting to the school nurse with stomach issues. And, that could be a story for us, could not. But if it's the flu bug, you know how that spreads with kids. And you could have a school closed, and then it could go from the little kids to the older kids. So this reporter was just checking it out. And so later in the day, I saw her and I said, "Hey, how did your story work out?" She says, "Oh, it's not a story." And I said, "Well, what happened?" And she said, "Well, the kids, they weren't sick. There's no flu bug. They went to the school nurse complaining about their stomach because they were hungry." And at the time, that just, it hit me like, I don't know, like a lightning bolt. And I remember going into my office and I just remember thinking about it and I couldn't quite figure out how that could be happening. I mean, we know that there are poor people in our community, but I'm thinking, there's food stamps and there's SNAP and there's a mechanism for helping them. So I just couldn't figure it out, and it just bugged me and bugged me and bugged me. And so finally, we talked about it, and then I called the food bank. They have to know, maybe they can educate us a little bit.
Was this the same day, or was it a few days later probably?
I think it was a few days later because it just weighed on me. I couldn't process how this could be happening in our community. Looking back, I feel like I was a little naive, but at the time, I'm like, this is something that we have got to explore. So eventually, you and I went over to the food bank and spoke with Mike and Rebecca, and I think Becky Page was there, and it was really Mike who educated us about this concept of the working poor. And these are people who have jobs, and but at the end of the month, when they paid the electric bill and the rent and got the kids school supplies or school clothes or whatever their kid needed for school, there was not a lot of money for food. And that was really the beginning of, I think, what was our educational process of the need in this community. And then the stories that Mike was giving us, that we were talking about, seniors, veterans, all kinds of different groups of people who had special needs that the food bank was meeting, and what an impressive operation, this warehouse and these pantries, and we knew about Second Harvest and kind of what they were doing, but not to the extent that we would know. And so then it became an issue of, well, what can we do? And so we talked, and Mike again felt, this is his insight, that really one of the most valuable things we could do is report on the issue of hunger. And that became a critical component of it. And then it was just, it sounds simple, but it was really just a question of calling the promotion guys, hey, we want to do something on hunger. What could we do? And it was Jack Stevenson, the marketing director, who said, well, I think we can see if we can get Sparkle involved in it. And Sparkle's a real hidden, unsung hero in a way. Their participation was crucial. So that was really the evolution of it, and it just kind of went on from there.
And we turned that, how quick, about from the idea to our first campaign?
Pretty fast, yeah. Right, yeah, it was fast, yeah.
What were your first thoughts, Mike, when you got the phone call wanting us to come over, and we come over and we're like, we don't know what's going on here?
Well, having been in the industry for a while, in the not only nonprofit but for-profit, when a news director calls, you move. You move quickly because you don't know what's going on.
I know I do.
And so I was used to that. Reporters and especially news directors, boy, you're in trouble. Like being called to the principal's office. So we came down, the two of you friendly faces were there, of course, and Mona said, I have an idea. And then start talking about the concept of Feed Our Valley. Well, you just heard Mona speaking. This is indicative of this community, people who care. Now you can tell she cares. She didn't have to follow up on that stuff. She didn't have to talk to that reporter and then go from here and here and then be concerned about kids that are not getting food because they're going to the nurse because they're hungry. So this is what makes this community so unique. People who care. And started with somebody like Mona, because you can tell just by listening to her that she cared. So it became something that WFMJ took on, and Feed Our Valley reinvented the word awareness, without question, because everybody knew Feed Our Valley. Everyone in the valley knew Feed Our Valley, and eventually, and we could talk about this a little later, the whole country knew about Feed Our Valley when it came to the 200 food banks throughout the nation. Now you're talking the big people, Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, Atlanta, Houston, Dallas. When we had Mona come up to speak to my colleagues at Feeding America, at that time it was America's Second Harvest, she graciously said she would come. And people were just in awe, like, wow, you're lucky. And I thought, wow, yeah, we are lucky. I know we're lucky. Now you know we're lucky. And so the people in the valley, who does not know or heard of Feed Our Valley? Businesses got involved, organizations, came to volunteer, came to have food drives. It became contagious in our three-county area. And not only in our three-county area, but we saw support coming from Cleveland. We saw support coming from Columbus. We even had support coming from places like Los Angeles and from foundations because they heard of this, from Raleigh, North Carolina. So Feed Our Valley just took off from this building to where it's at today, which is huge.
And I would be remiss though if I didn't point out the fact that when you had this idea and you brought it to the management here at WFMJ, and now we are entering the 19th year, there are promos that we put on the air. I mean, we put all of our awareness in our newscasts with news stories, but we also sprinkle in promos throughout the 6 weeks and even further. And that is money that is not coming into WFMJ. We are donating that time to the food bank and the awareness of this hunger problem. We couldn't even begin to probably add up the amount of money that WFMJ, the owner, the managers here, just speak to that. I mean, I think being locally owned plays a part in that. Like you said, Mike, caring about the community.
I remember sitting in my office with the previous general manager, John Gerdick, and this was in the early days of Feed Our Valley, and Bob Black went out and did what we call the cover story, the kickoff piece. And I said, could you come watch this, just so you know what we're trying to do here. And it was a long piece, it was a couple of minutes long, and I remember him sitting there. And again, that kind of recognition, that sort of moment where you're like, wow. And he looked at me, he goes, we have to keep doing this every year. We have to keep doing it. And you're absolutely right about the investment that WFMJ made. There's no question that, that investment of what we call inventory that otherwise could have been sold to paying clients was a huge investment. And that goes from John Gerdick to Jack Gerdick to Mark Brown and the 19 years that those three guys have supported this, because without them,
Right. And there's no stopping. I mean, they're not saying we're not doing it every year. There's no question. And we say this campaign is successful. We put the information out there to the viewers, but it really is the viewers that are all about this. I mean, I would want both of you to respond to this community and what they've done.
Well, there were a couple of components. There was, could we get the word out promotionally? I had no doubt we could do that. Could the news department report on the issue? Yeah, we could do that. After touring Second Harvest and seeing that, had no doubt that they could manage whatever was going to happen. And then Sparkle was in place. And the final, and this is what I was a little nervous about, were the people of the Mahoning Valley. Never should have been nervous. Never should have been nervous for 1 second, because they just came out and gave and gave and gave and gave.
Right.
And it was amazing.
And they still do give, because they are aware of what we do, and we talked about that. The integrity of WFMJ and what you did.
And the food bank's integrity.
Right. I'm getting to that. I want to put you first. I'm getting to that. Yeah, we got a lot of integrity, just like you. And really, if we didn't, we would never be able to reap what we're reaping, which is people caring about what we do, and obviously being very thankful to WFMJ, a local station, which we all know, locally owned, which we all are aware of, and people just say, well, they're telling the truth, and they're making me aware of what's really going on in this community. That does it right there, because everybody knows somebody that's having a difficult time. It's invariable, either in your family, in your neighborhood, where you work, somebody, and you know what, that bringing to light what you did during, what you have done in all these years with Feed Our Valley and all the stories, it resonates with people. They can see that person that we do the story on, but they also know somebody, and so they're willing to help. The calls are always coming in, not only during Feed Our Valley, but during the rest of the year, because they know that there is this problem, whether it be in a child, because now we have school pantries. We have 25 buildings in the 3-county area that we support with food. That these kids, many of them didn't have anything to eat that night, and they're not only taking food home for themselves, but for their siblings. And they're concerned about their siblings, and we have story after story after story about that. I have relatives that are in the teaching field who tell me what they see. It's heartbreaking. It really is. And bringing that to the community, bringing that to the people in the area, it's a no-brainer. And WFMJ has really helped not only us, but all the people that are benefiting from what we do.
Yeah. And you've mentioned, like I know in past days or such, that you've sort of been recognized at the food bank with the relationship we have with Feed Our Valley.
Well, what was occurring is after a few years, America's Second Harvest, what it was called at that time, said, boy, we're hearing about what's going on down in the Mahoning Valley with the local TV station, WFMJ. And I was called by those folks and they said, look, could you invite someone from that station to come and talk to our next conference, national conference, 200, all the 200 food banks from the America's Second Harvest at that time. And I said, sure, I will check into it. I spoke to Mona. She was gracious enough to say, yes, I will go. Well, she was a hit because everybody was there. Everybody wanted to listen to how it began,
right,
which she just helped us understand for the folks who this is new to. And she took questions, and it was great. And after that, after she left, and it was a 3-day conference, and I kept going, boy, are you lucky. That is phenomenal. And then they got into, well, now the awareness is out there, and now people know, and now they will understand where their money's going and how it's helping, all those things. And so we got national attention for that. Then we got national attention again.
Right.
So at this time, Feeding America advised us all, 200 of us, that Walmart had put out this challenge, the Walmart Challenge. And they came to Feeding America, so we're going to give $3 million to the 200 food banks, and here's how we're going to do it. It'll be voting in their community for the food bank of their choice. Obviously, if you're in the community, you're going to vote for that food bank in your community. And so we're going to be giving $1 million to whoever gets the most votes. And then the other $2 million are going to be divided among, I think it was 19 or 20 food banks. Okay. So Rebecca Martinez, our development director, which is phenomenal, and I'm not sure we'd be totally here without Rebecca. She was an incredible person. Came from the Carolinas, Southern Belle, and she had that drawl, and the guys could not resist that. And she was wonderful, and she knew her stuff because she came from working at the North Carolina Food Bank, and so she knew all about food banks. And when she came in looking for a job, and she left, and I said, "Thank you, Lord, thank you so much, Lord." And it turned out to be that she was probably one of the most important things that made us what we are today. So we came down to Mona and to you, Sheila, and we said, look, here's the deal. And I was waiting for a reaction, and Mona said, we want to win. and we talked about it, and then being from this community, knowing a little bit about the media, we were walking out down the street, and I said, Rebecca, we just won.
Oh my God.
Because I knew we were going to win. When I could see both of you, and she said it, you knew it already because she had already told you, and you smiled there, and I thought, I looked at the two smiles, that's it, it's over.
Yeah.
And what happened is that then every day, WFMJ was talking about voting for, here's what we're going to get, the community's going to get, if we win this for Second Harvest Food Bank. And so every day, you folks would have it on the news, morning news, a morning show, the news, and different parts of the day. I couldn't go anywhere without somebody saying to me, we voted, we voted, we voted.
Right.
The schools came on board. They gave time during study halls. Now you can vote, you kids can take your phones out and vote during study halls. YSU got into it. Then companies got into it. We got calls from different companies. We're on it. Every one of our people, we're giving them time in the morning before we start the day. They're going to vote. Okay, well this time was a frenzy. Because of you folks, because it was constant.
How long was that campaign? Like 6 weeks?
It was a couple of weeks, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
something like that.
I remember the guy from Walmart calling me. He was like, first time, very perfunctory, because he was returning my call. And then all of a sudden he calls me and he's like, Mona, you guys are winning. I can't believe this. You're coming up from behind. You're beating this, you're beating that, you're beating that. And I'm like, yeah, I told you we were going to do it, you know? That's the Mahoning Valley.
Right, I know.
It is the Mahoning Valley. I received a call from my counterpart in Los Angeles. His name was Mike too. And he called and he said, where is the Mahoning Valley? I said, Mike, I said, you just found out with the Mahoning Valley because we're kicking your butt. And so he couldn't believe it. And to what the Walmart folks told you. You're just creeping up. 200 food bags, please.
Right.
Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, Boston, Houston, Dallas, Atlanta. Come on. And the Mahoning Valley wins because of you folks, because of the people in this community.
Yeah.
Because they cared.
Right.
They cared.
Do you know how much we won by?
I don't remember. It didn't matter if it was.
It didn't matter. Do you remember getting the call that you won?
I just remember getting $1 million.
And that was for a freezer. Was it
Well,
for a freezer?
What we did, right, we took half of it and we built a freezer. We took the other half and divided it among our 160 pantries
nice.
for infrastructure, for their freezers, for their coolers, for those things. So we made sure that it impacted the entire network of food banks, of food pantries that we have here.
Right.
So yes, we do, and we have. It's called the Walmart room, and it costs us half $500,000 to put that in, and with storage, but it could be turned into a freezer.
Great.
So
And Walmart hasn't had anything like that. That was in 2012. Have they done it again?
yes, the next year.
Oh, did they?
So the next year they did it again, right? And here we got notice that they were doing it again.
But we weren't allowed to participate.
No, and they said, well, wait a minute, this year it's going to be different. Nobody's going to get $1 million. You're all going to get the same amount. So top 50 are going to get, I think, 20,000, whatever it was, 20,000 or 50,000. So I get a call from my counterpart in South Dakota. He said, we're going to kick your butt this year, and we're going to come in first. I said, okay, guess what? We're all getting the same amount. So we still got with you folks, and you still did what you did, and the community was already enthralled in this whole thing. And so what happened that year? We came in second. Who cares? Who cares?
Got the same amount.
We all got 50,000.
We care.
Right. We all got 50,000. Didn't matter. And we still did what we were doing. But that guy was going crazy. It was all about bragging rights. He wanted bragging rights. He wasn't going to get.
You got $1 million. But he got bragging rights on 50 grand
Well,
for,
yeah.
you know?
And we all 20 of us got the same.
Yeah.
I can't remember how many of us. Maybe 50. I can't remember exactly what. But I think they had the same $3 million, but divided among 50 or 40 or something of that nature. It was a while ago. So yeah, that was the last year.
Very
That was it.
interesting.
But
So-
everybody in this community
Yes.
remembers that.
Didn't you get money from Melissa Gates or somebody like that?
Oh, yeah, I got a call one day. Actually, I got an email, and you know how these scam emails come out, and email, it was really kind of loose. You know, I wasn't quite, so I ignored it. Finally, this woman calls me. She said, Mr. Iberis, I've been calling you I've been emailing you. I'm with the Chicago Foundation. Very nice. And I would like to talk with you. Sure, certainly, yeah. Okay. So I said, well, I ignored your email simply because all these scams are going on, and I wasn't quite sure where this was coming from. So I was a little cautious. And she said, I have a donor that would like to make a donation to you. I said, wonderful. That's very good. Thank you very much for letting me know. We chatted for a minute or two. And she said a little bit. I'd like to know a little bit about your organization. Okay, we talked. Now, Chicago Foundation is big, really big. And so after a while, she said, well, would you like to know how much the donation is? And I said, yes, I would. She said, $3 million. Well, after I picked myself up off the floor,
Right.
and I said, wow. I said, that's terrific. She said, would you like to know who gave the money? Who's donating? I said, I would. And she said, it was Gates.
Yeah.
But it was yeah, okay. Now here comes my senior moment. It was,
It's Melinda, right?
well, she after she divorced.
Yeah,
Gates,
they got divorced.
Yeah, okay.
And she set up a foundation,
Set up a foundation.
Donate.
very generously donating money to all kinds of causes.
And I didn't know the name. And she said, do you know that name? Anybody out there remember that name?
Her first name, you mean? Or
I'm trying to think of, anyway.
Bill Gates and
Bill,
Bill and his wife.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I don't know her. And she said, well, the woman said, well, she's an author. I said, oh, well, we're absolutely, this is going to go a long way. I said to her. And I'll remember before we leave, I'm sure. But anyway, so we got $3 million. Well, we did the same thing with that we did with the million. We took half of it and we set it up as the ability to go out to our pantries based on grants to our pantries for their needs. They needed tables, they needed refrigeration.
Oh, okay.
So $1.5 million went to them. The other $1.5 million went into our function, and we did some capital with it. We did some doors. We had to do some doors, things with our doors in the cooler and things of that nature. So we did that. So then I find out, well, I wonder how these people did this. And here she put together a group of people, I think it was 100 people, that were used to giving away money from other foundations. She said, okay, you can apply. You can apply. And she said, go out and find 8 organizations that are needy and what they do. Well, the first thing these people do, foundations do this all the time. They're looking for your admin costs. What are your admin costs? What are your administrative costs? Well, our administrative cost at the time was in the single digits.
Wow.
Wow.
That's low.
Yeah.
Typically, that is low. I think we were at maybe 5% then. And typically, anything in the teens and foundations think are great.
Huh.
And that happened to us with Dunkin' Donuts. I get a call one day from Joe White, who had the franchise here for Dunkin' Donuts. And he was on the foundation board up in New England. And he said, Mike, I said, I didn't know him. He said, I just came back. He said, Rebecca had put in a request for $25,000. And they had our 990. So they had our admin costs at 5%. People are going crazy. How could this be? Because in the teens, they're okay. So he came back and said, I want to be part of your organization. I want to support you. So he came on our board and they supported us and everything. But foundations usually look for that. And now I can say that our admin costs are a little under 5.
Wow.
For something, which is incredible. That's because we have a great staff. We have great support.
Volunteers too.
Hundreds of volunteers. Mackenzie Scott. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Mackenzie Scott. Do you know who Mackenzie Scott is? No.
No.
But I'd like to get to know her. And she said, well, she's an author. So I know Mackenzie Scott. But she's Bezos. And she's giving away all her money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
And these 100 people went out. Nobody could apply.
And looked for
We're
it.
the only ones that got it. My understanding is we're the only ones in the Pony Valley to get it.
And
so they found us.
Didn't they eventually tell you that part of the reason, in addition to the admin costs, was the community support that
No
the
question.
bank had?
No question. Yeah, absolutely. They looked at the broad spectrum of what we get. But you're right. It was Feed Our Valley that they saw, and they could just see how this organization ran, and they could see from the 990 because they were all professionals, and then they did search into how we're perceived in the community, right? So they did their job. So I can't remember how many she gave away at that, but it was so they gave, I think, 28 that time, and then there was another time they gave away. It was like 20 or 30 every time. So maybe a couple times a year, she would do that, and she's committed to giving away the vast majority of her money.
Wow.
So that's another. Well, the reason we have such low admin costs is because of what you just said, our support. If we didn't have the community support we had, we wouldn't have single-digit admin costs. And so yeah, it all comes together.
Right.
It really does.
Right.
And then we always invite people to come in and see where they're giving and what the place looks like and so on. And then they're very impressed when they come in and see exactly how it operates very well, very clean, very neat. And they can our pantries are in there. They can talk to our like your reporters come in, and pantries are there. We invite them to talk to the pantries, and so you're an open book.
Right.
You're transparent.
So for 18 years, we've been pretty successful with the campaign. So now we enter year 19 with all that's going on, and we know it's going to be a little bit of an uphill battle, but we have all the faith in our community for sure. We know they're going to donate. So Mike, I know when we started the campaign in 2007, we put little factoids in our newscasts to help people understand, if they donate $1, this much will go towards meals. So in 2007, we would say for every dollar donated, that's $15 in food.
Yeah.
So now fast forward the 18 years, what are we saying this year just due to the high costs and such?
I think we're in single digits now.
Yeah. I think it's 5.
I think,
So we were saying
It's
$1
fluctuates, but
for
I think you're right.
$15 of
Right.
meals. Right.
It's strictly
Expensive. Your costs go up.
Right.
because we're buying food.
Right.
People are giving us money to provide food. And we get some from USDA, we get some from Ohio, we get some from donated, but we buy a lot of food. And that's why they're giving us money.
Wow. So now with these SNAP benefits that are going to expire, there was, let me see, I have stats written down here, I knew I wouldn't remember. 1 in 9 Ohioans rely on SNAP benefits. So in a couple of days, there's not going to be any money coming in. How is our local food bank preparing for that?
We've been preparing for months. Our objective was to fill our warehouse and keep it full. And we've met our objective. We have enough for about 2 months. We're distributing 30,000 pounds a day. So that's 600,000 a month. We're good for over 2 months. Because we saw that there was going to there might be some issues going on, and we filled the warehouse, our agency people, and the orders are continuing to come in. So we're spending quite a bit of money on food, and that's why.
How do you gauge that though? How do you know? I mean, you just sort of, it's a guessing game, isn't it? I mean, how do you know how many extra people are going to come through that door?
We don't. We simply, it's a simple concept of we fill our warehouse, and you can really never gauge the future. You can't tell what's going to happen.
Right.
But our thought was, if the warehouse is full, then that whatever should happen, a natural disaster, COVID happen, things of that nature, then we have a better chance of being able to serve the additional people that may show up. And it was a simple concept. Our whole thought process out there is keeping it simple, and it works. It works. So we have a full. You saw it, Mona.
I did.
It's full, and it's going to stay full. And our agency people are doing that. Our operations people are keeping it full, and we thought, why take a chance?
Right.
Let's fill this place. Let's keep it filled, and if we need the extra food, we've got it. So it's filled, and we've got trucks coming in, probably into the middle of November. We have trucks coming every couple of days, so we're fine at this point. There are more people coming.
Right.
You do see more?
We've seen a 6%. I checked in that before I left. We're seeing a 6% increase
In the last month,
in
about
the last 2 weeks
2 weeks.
from our agencies. That's what they're reporting. So we don't know what's going to happen. I'll make a prediction that stopgap or the stoppage. I predict that it's going to be resolved in the next couple of days, because I just don't think that the politicians can put up with the. Now we're getting political. I don't want to get political.
No, right.
I think that they're seeing how much pain is out there, and I think they're going to come to grips with this thing before November 1st, because that's the day of this.
Yeah, November,
big
right.
stop.
Right. Well, the time's ticking here.
And
Yeah.
I would wager that that they're going to come to an agreement, so it doesn't create the cutoff of SNAP,
I hope you're right.
and that's WIC too.
Right.
So it's
Right.
for
Right.
kids. So I don't think they're callous enough, and I hate to say that word, but I don't think I think they're gonna realize what's at stake here, and they're gonna do the right thing, and they're gonna come to an agreement.
I hope
In
so.
the next couple of days.
And before this podcast, we were talking a little bit about how the phones are ringing off the hook. And again, we're circling back to the community that as they watch the news and see the shutdown and the SNAP, all the stories, they're calling wanting to know how they can help. That's what you're seeing?
That's great. Well, also, Sheila, grocery prices. You know, exclusive of what's happening with SNAP and WIC, just grocery prices. I was in the store the other day, and this lady wanted to buy Halloween candy, and she was just looking and looking kind of, you know, and she just looked at me, she goes, I can't believe how much more expensive Halloween candy is this year.
Yeah.
You know, and these are things that affect people's daily lives, wanting to give candy to trick-or-treaters, you know, milk, you know, bread, putting food on the table, making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for your kids. You know, it's all much more expensive than it used to be. So that puts added burden on the food bank, I'm sure.
Right, just like we said, the money isn't going as far. It's not buying as many meals, that $1 that people donate. So that's why this year is so important.
Yeah, it's not 12 anymore. Yeah.
No. For back when the campaign first started and to now, I'm sure the number of pantries has increased and the number of volunteers. Is that the case? That just, you know, more people see the need, like the church down in Sebring opens up a pantry. Is there more involvement over the years of just the community?
It has. We've had some drop off, some come on, but the number has increased. Probably in the last, since the program started, I would say it's increased maybe 15%.
Wow.
The number of pantries have come on. And that's a lot. That's a lot. We have 160 now. So I'd say we picked up a good 20 pantries, maybe 20, 25 pantries, more than we had before the program. Because I think what happened is organizations, mostly churches, mostly faith-based, when they saw these stories come out, they said, hey, we really need to do this in our community, in our neighborhood. And they came to us, and they qualified. And so we established them as a pantry. There's 25 pantries here in Youngstown.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
In the city?
In the city, just in the city.
Yeah.
Not to get into the details of it, but maybe just a broad stroke of how do you become a pantry? They call you, there's some qualifications?
You have to have a 501c3 nonprofit. And there is a checklist of USDA that USDA has. You have to have obviously a secure location. You have to have refrigeration. You have to have the ability to stack product within a foot of the wall.
Just a
all
bunch.
those. There's a lot of check marks. But the biggest is a 501c3, and you have to. It could be pretty tough. Not everybody gets approved.
I give them credit for doing it. Those churches.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You have to man them.
Yeah.
We have some small churches. Out of the 25, there's a couple of small ones in here, but they don't give up.
They don't give up.
And the people.
That's what it's all about.
The people running them are in their 80s, and they're just, and they come in, and boy, they just sit there and they just place their order, and they're the nicest, sweetest people you ever want to meet, and they've been doing this for a long time, and they're never going to stop, and they may only be getting 16 people a month or something, but that's okay because that's that neighborhood.
Right.
That's a difficult neighborhood.
Yeah.
So every pantry has a story. And it's so rewarding to get to meet these people that run these pantries. They're the salt of the earth. They really are. They care so much, and they want to help people. And the stories that you guys run have always been very, very helpful because you've covered those pantries.
That's true. And you would give us little leads on people who would be good to talk to, and they were some of the best stories that we did.
Right, entering a new year, we try to think of new stories or whatever, but they're just the same, but with different people. But it's still the same need. It's no way that you can make it any different. I need to circle back real quick to the with the government shutdown and the funding and such. I mean, you haven't heard from the state at all, from anybody in Columbus to help out, to fill the gap a little bit? Should this shutdown last past your prediction?
As a matter of fact, I heard this morning.
No.
About 7:30 this morning, I got a call
From
our association for people, and I've talked to some legislators. There are a couple of them.
Couple local legislators?
Yeah. They're down in Columbus. Nick Santucci is doing a great job. He supports the heck out of us locally and down there. And he, I've talked to him, and he said that there's a lot of things they're working on. So this morning I got a call from our association saying the governor has something on his desk that will take some some kind of funds that are in this pot and put it in this pot so that SNAP participants could keep their SNAP, which would be a big deal. So that, and I'm going to go on another call this afternoon. So that's happening.
Okay.
That's happening. They're trying to they're trying to make sure that November 1st did not become a terrible day for people, and so they are going to use their funding that they have that are, and there's so many pots down there that I really don't know what pot it's coming from, but apparently there's money, discretionary money that they can use from this for statewide. So we should know more about that even this afternoon, perhaps.
Good. Good. Just means the Browns stadium is put on hold a little bit.
Yeah.
That's all.
That could feed a lot of people, could it?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think I have anything else. I did want to circle back to you, Mona Marie. I mean, 18 years ago, you have this idea. I mean, literally, what are your thoughts with just that one little moment, all that this has happened, and that all the people that have fed because you had that idea? That has to be overwhelming sometimes when you think of it.
You know, Sheila, and you know me really well. I never had one moment when I didn't think this wasn't going to work.
But I'm not telling you to think about that. I'm telling you what you feel now.
18 years later, it's gratifying.
Yes.
It's just gratifying. You know, you're like, okay, you know, the little kid from Chicago who grew up to be a journalist and wanted to make a difference. Maybe she did a little bit. That's how
for
it
sure.
feels.
Right. Maybe she made a difference.
She made a big difference.
Right. Right.
And there's somebody upstairs looking down on us and saying, hey, you guys are doing the right thing. You guys, all of us.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's important because ultimately that's real important.
Right.
And
Leave
that's what's
something
happening.
better than you found it. Is that right?
That's right. You guys have really
As you did.
our appreciation to you two and to this whole organization. As you said, the leadership, the owners, and so on have made such a difference in this community. And we see it every day. So thanks.
Right. And we do. We circle back to the viewer, though, because we just put the message out there. You know, we head out to the sparkle markets, put our little anchors there to meet them, but those people come up, put all their bags in the boxes, and we'll do that again this year. We're at the 6 sparkles across the area, make some special appearances and such, so it will continue.
It all makes a difference.
Right. Yes. All right. Well, I thank you both so much. Thank you, Mona Marie. Thank you, Mike, and congratulations on 25 years at the food bank and all the changes you've made there. Our 19th year of Feed Our Valley will start on November 10th, and it's going to run 6 weeks until December 19th. So tune into 21 News, and you'll see all the promotions and all of the news stories there. And again, to everybody in the Mahoning Valley who donated to Feed Our Valley over the 18 years and who will in the 19th year, thank you again.